Sedale Threatt was an underrated player his entire life. After a great career at West Virginia Tech, he was picked in the 6th round by Philly in 1983. He spent the first 8 years of his career as a role player, as he was a great spark plug off the bench, as he could shoot the mid-range, pass effectively, and play great perimeter defense. But after a much improved season in 1990 with Seattle, he was traded to the Lakers to be the backup for Magic. But when he suddenly retired due to his HIV diagnosis, the Lakers could have easily gotten another point guard, but they chose to promote Sedale to the starting spot. At 30 years old, he finally got a chance to really prove himself, and he took full advantage, becoming one of the league's better starters for a short period, even getting some all-defensive consideration in 1992, as he helped to keep the Lakers relevant during a shaky time for their franchise. After Nick Van Exel was drafted in 1993, he was producing very well early on, so the Lakers stuck with the younger guard. Although Sedale wasn't a top player in the league, he could play any role you needed, as he could score, pass, and defend. Today's video will look at the underrated career of the Thief. Welcome to PZ Hoops, and let's get down to it. Sedale was born on September 10th, 1961 in Atlanta, Georgia. After a nice career at Thurl High School, he committed to play at West Virginia Tech. In 4 years there, he averaged 21 points, 4 rebounds, and 5.5 assists, being named a first-team All-Conference member for 3 years in a row. Sedale's pro prospects weren't the greatest, especially being a small guard from a Division II school, as he was picked in the 6th round by the Sixers in 1983, the last year of the 6th round draft format. Sedale would find himself buried on the bench behind Mo Cheeks, Wes Matthews, and Franklin Edwards, so minutes were very hard to come by. He only scored in double figures once, with a 12-point, 6-rebound game on April 3rd against Detroit. But with the Sixers coming off a title, they were already stacked, finishing 52-30. Sedale averaged 3.5 points, 1 rebound, and 1 assist as the Sixers faced the Nets in the first round, as he only made 1 shot in the series, with Philly being upset in 5 games. Sedale's role increased in 1984, as he was now the backup point. He dropped 19 points, 2 rebounds, and 3 assists on November 7th against the Pacers, and 15 points, 5 rebounds, 9 assists, and 2 steals a week later. He lived up to his nickname, dropping 14 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 steals on March 16th against New Jersey. Philly got their usual production from their starters, while Charles Barkley had a solid rookie season, as they finished 58-24. Sedale averaged 5.5 points, 1 rebound, 2 assists, and a steal. The Sixers were still an elite team, so they shortened their rotation in the playoffs, as Sedale only played in 4 games the entire postseason, with the Sixers losing to Boston in the conference finals. In his 3rd season, Sedale was moved to the shooting guard position, as he received a larger role. He shut out in the 2nd game of the season, dropping 24 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 steals in 28 minutes against the Bucks. After being inserted into the starting lineup in November, he was playing at a career level, but he got injured and missed all but 2 games in December. His much improved season saw him drop 4 20-point games and grab 3 or more steals in 13 games, as the Sixers continued to play great, finishing 54-28. Sedale had his most infamous moment on April 8th against the Celtics, when he got into a scuffle with Danny Ainge, ending with a punch to the face, as Sedale was ejected from the game. But for this season, he averaged 10 points, 1.5 rebounds, 3 assists, and 1.5 steals, as the Sixers faced the Bullets in the first round. Sedale had a nice role in this series, dropping double figures 3 times, including 16 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals in Game 3, as Philly won in 5. They faced Boston in the 2nd round, as Sedale dropped 22 points, 7 assists, and 4 steals in a Game 1 win. He dropped 20 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 steals in a Game 3 win. He had an amazing Game 7 with 28 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists on 75% shooting, but Philly would lose by 1 point. Sedale would have the same role in 1986, but he was expanding his game, shooting 44% from 3 in the first 2 months of the season. He would be traded to the Bulls on New Year's Eve for Steve Coulter and a 2nd round pick. He would back up John Paxson as his production dipped with a reduction in minutes. He dropped 21 points and 4 assists on 7 of 10 shooting on February 24th against the Hawks, and 19 points, 3 rebounds, and 6 assists on 9 of 15 shooting on March 4th against Detroit. Michael Jordan averaged an insane 37 points a game, as the Bulls finished 40-42. Between the two teams, Sedale averaged 8.5 points, 1.5 rebounds, 4 assists, and a steal, as Chicago faced the Celtics in the first round. He dropped 12 points, 2 rebounds, and 6 assists in Game 1, but Boston won. He had limited production over the next 2 games as the Bulls were swept. The Bulls drafted Scottie Pippen and Horace Grant in 1987, but Sedale would be the third point guard behind Rory Sparrow, as he would only average about 15 minutes a game. He would then be traded to the Sonics in February for Sam Vincent. Seattle was led by their young trio of Tom Chambers, Dale Ellis, and Xavier McDaniel, as Sedale would be the backup to Nate McMillan. He would find his stride in April, averaging 15 points, 4 assists, and 2 steals on 56% shooting, including a then career-high 31 points, 3 rebounds, 7 assists, and 2 steals on the 16th against the Suns. The Sonics trio all averaged over 20 points, as Seattle finished 44-38. Sedale averaged 7 points, 1 rebound, 2.5 assists, and a steal as the Nuggets met them in the first round. He had a nice game 1 with 16 points, 3 rebounds, and 4 assists, but the Sonics lost. He shot 29% over the next 4 games as the Sonics lost in 5. Chambers left the Sonics to join the Suns in free agency as Derek McKee took over the starting small forward spot. Sedale would have the same backup role, but he was producing with 21 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals on January 16th against the Warriors. He dropped 12 points, 4 rebounds, a career-high 15 assists, and 3 steals against the Warriors again on April 18th. Dale Ellis will have the best season of his career, while McDaniels averaged 20 points off the bench, as the Sonics finished 47-35. Sedale averaged 8.5 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists, and 1.5 steals, as Seattle faced Houston in the first round. He continued this trend of great opening games in the playoffs, with 22 points and 6 assists on 10 of 13 shooting in the Game 1 win. He would have solid production over the next 3 games, as the Sonics won in 4. The Lakers were next in the second round, but they were a way better team than Seattle, as although the Sonics were swept, Sedale had a great Game 3 with 10 points, 2 rebounds, 9 assists, and 6 steals. Seattle drafted Dana Barros and Sean Kemp in 1989, as Sedale's role would increase this year, as he would have a much improved season. He had a 5-game stretch in late January where he averaged 23 points on 54% shooting, dropping a then career high 36 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 steals on January 26 against the Warriors. Sedale had 9 games with 20 or more, 3 games with double-digit assists, and 6 games with 3 or more steals. The Sonics regressed this season, finishing 41-41, missing the playoffs, but Sedale averaged 11.5 points, 2 rebounds, 3.5 assists, and a steal. Seattle traded for Super 6-man Ricky Pierce and drafted Gary Payton in 1990. But Sedale got the biggest role of his career so far, starting his most games to date. He dropped 19 points, 12 assists, and 2 steals on November 23rd against Utah. He also dropped back-to-back 30-point games at the end of February. He scored in double figures 55 times, including 3 30-point games, 2 games with double-digit assists, and 15 games with 3 or more steals. Both McDaniel and Ellis would be traded after they fought in practice, as Seattle was an average team on both sides of the ball, finishing 41-41. Sedale averaged 13 points, 1 rebound, 3.5 assists, and 1.5 steals as the Sonics faced Portland in the first round. Sedale started the whole series, dropping double figures in 3 games, including 29 points, 3 assists, and 2 steals with 3 threes in Game 3. The series was tied going into Game 5, but the Blazers destroyed Seattle on the boards as they won by 12. After a season where Sedale proved to be one of the better role players in the league, the Lakers wanted him as their backup point guard, so they paid a pretty high price for him, sending 3 second-round picks to Seattle to get him. But everything would change this season, as Magic stunned everyone, announcing that he would have to retire due to his HIV diagnosis. But instead of getting another guard, the Lakers promoted Sedale to the starter, as at 30 years old, he finally got an opportunity to play heavy minutes. And he was already proving himself in the first month of the season, averaging 14 points, 5 rebounds, 7.5 assists, 2.5 steals on 47% shooting and 50% from 3. He even dropped his career high of 42 points along with 6 assists and 2 steals on March 10th against the Knicks. He had a career-high 24 double-doubles this year, dropping double-digit assists in 23 games, and getting 3 or more steals in 29 games. He was finally among the league leaders, ranking 12th in assists, 9th in steals, and 13th in minutes played, as he even got some all-defensive team votes. He finished 3rd on the team in scoring behind James Worthy and Sam Perkins, as the Lakers were a score-by-committee team, as 7 players averaged double figures. They had one of the worst offenses in the league, but their defense was great, as they surprised everyone, finishing 43-39, making the playoffs. Sedale's career year saw him average 15 points, 3 rebounds, 7 assists, and 2 steals, as the Lakers faced Portland in the first round. Sedale had a solid series, even putting up 24 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists in Game 3, but that would be their only win of the series, as the Lakers lost in 4. The Lakers drafted Doug Christie and Anthony Peeler in 1992, but but they were still the same average team. Sedale was the starter again, keeping up a solid production, dropping 32 points, 6 rebounds, 9 assists, and 4 steals on November 22nd against Denver. He also had a stretch of games at the end of February where he averaged 18 points and 11 assists on 54% shooting, including 24 points and a career-high 15 assists on March 9th. Sedale had 20 20-point games, dished double-digit assists in 17 games, and grabbed 3 or more steals in 23 games. He led the Lakers in points, assists, and steals this year, the first player since Magic to accomplish this feat. However, the Lakers just weren't that good of a team at this point, finishing 39-43, their first losing season since 1975. Sedale averaged 15 points, 3.5 rebounds, 7 assists, and 1.5 steals. The Lakers still snuck into the playoffs, facing Phoenix in the first round. Sedale had the best playoff game of his career in Game 1, dropping 35 points, 3 rebounds, 7 assists, and 3 steals in the Lakers win. He came back down to earth in Game 2, dropping 9 points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists, and 3 steals on 4 of 14 shooting, but the Lakers won, going up 2-0 in the series. However, the Lakers lost 3 straight games to lose the series, as Sedale shot 35% in these games. The Lakers drafted Nick Van Exel in 1993, while also trading for former number 2 pick Sam Bowie. Nick came in and played just as good as Sedale, so his minutes would go down this year. He still played well though, dropping 30 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 steals November 21st against New Jersey. He also dropped 25 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists, and a career-high 7 steals on January 21st against Portland. Sedale scored over 20 18 times, dished double-digit assists in 4 games, and recorded 3 or more steals in 9 games. Although the Lakers had 8 players average double figures, Vlade Divac led the team with just over 14 points a game. Along with their subpar offense, their defense struggled as well, as they finished 33-49, their worst record in almost 20 years. Sedale averaged 12 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists, and 1.5 steals. The Lakers drafted Eddie Jones and traded for Cedric Sabalas after James Worthy's retirement in 1994, as Sedale would go back in a 6-man role with the emergence of Van Exel. Sedale will still have some nice games in a smaller role, dropping a season-high 38 points and 8 assists on December 10th against Utah. He also put up 26 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists on March 10th against Minnesota. Eddie Jones had a solid rookie season, while Cedric had a career year, along with more improvement from Van Exel. The Lakers were a lot better offensively, so they returned to the playoffs with a 48-34 record. Sedale averaged 9.5 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists, and a steal. He was hurt going into the playoffs, only playing in 1 game, as the Lakers lost to the Spurs in the second round. Magic briefly came out of retirement in 1995, so Sedale's role would be even smaller this season. He dropped a season-high 27 points, 4 assists, and 2 steals on December 8th against Toronto. He scored double figures in 24 games, dished over 5 assists in 22 games, and grabbed 3 or more steals in 5 games. The Lakers played like their usual selves this year, and they were better on both sides of the ball, finishing 53-29 on the season. Sedale averaged 7.5 points, 1 rebound, 3.5 assists, and 1 steal. But he wouldn't play too well in the first round against Houston, as he would go scoreless 3 times. He did drop 10 points and 2 assists in Game 3, but the Lakers were eliminated after 4 games. Sedale was released by the Lakers this offseason, as he would go overseas to play with Paris Basket Racing in France. He then got another NBA opportunity, signing with the Houston Rockets in March 1997. The Rockets had Matt Maloney and Clyde Drexler as their starting guards, so Sedale would have a limited role. He would have some nice games though, with 15 points, 2 assists, and 3 steals on March 18th against New Jersey, with 10 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 steals on April 13th against Seattle. The Rockets' big 3 of Hakeem, Clyde, and Barkley led them to a 57-25 record. In his short season, Sedale averaged 3.5 points, 1 rebound, 2 assists, and a steal. He would get about 16 minutes a game in the playoffs, but he had limited production as the Rockets lost to the Jazz in the conference finals. Sedale would be released by the Rockets in the offseason and signed to play Greece, where he would finally retire in 2002. Sedale has been mainly under the radar since his retirement, but he would start up a basketball school in Australia with one of his sons. Another one of his sons played quarterback at Lehigh and is now an actor. Sedale Threatt was an excellent role player who could do whatever was needed to win. He was a great passer and perimeter defender, but he could also get his own buckets, as he could shoot, slash to the rim, and handle the ball well. He had to wait his turn for a while before an unexpected retirement from Magic gave him an opportunity to start, and he would take full advantage, becoming a great starter for 2 years. Overall, Sedale had a solid career for someone who was a 6th-round pick, as he was the last one to play in the league before the draft went to 3 rounds. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate y'all. I saw some people recommend Sedale Threatt, and I was just looking at his career, and it's like, he really played a role for 8 years. Like, he really sat and waited for 8 years. It took until 29 years old for him to really get some footing and really get people to really like what he's doing. He was a starting point guard during that weird time with the Lakers where it was between Magic and between Shaq. And it's like, that weird limbo period where they were still good, but you knew they weren't going to win a championship. Like, you're sticking around the league for 14 years as a 6th-round pick is nice. I'm watching the highlights, man. He's hitting a step back midi. He can slash to the rim. Great passer. He was a great perimeter defender. He was a great player, man. He definitely was a good player. But shout out to Sedale, man, for your great career, man. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate all the support. We are really close to 2,000 subs, man. Be safe. Stay on the grind. Have a great day. Leave a like. Hit that subscribe button. I'm out. Peace.